Damn, do I got one?
Go, let's go. Boom.
Juwan TheDon.
Except my Steve, you know what's going on. Yes, Lord.
Should bring you the last and final round of footy for this year, 2021.
Finn. If you didn't know.
We made it, y'all.
We made it, man. Round 23.
Any takeaways, bro?
Oh, shit. All right, major takeaways, man. Fuck it. I'm gonna put it this way, man. Carlton, we don't look out for our players, man. We don't look out for our coaches, man. We don't look out for nothing. We also don't look out for people specifically on our milestone games. We lose them. Sorry, Eddie Betts. We'll talk about that later, but that's fucked up of us, bro.
Yeah. My takeaway, being a new fan, if this round was a preview for what finals is gonna bring, bro, I'm overly excited, bro. This is one of the best rounds of footy I've seen. A lot of close games. Shit, we had a draw. Kind of fell off on Sunday when last 3 games was in, but them Friday, Saturday, them games was fire, bro. Definitely some of the best footy I've seen. Sure.
Yeah, some went as far as to say that was the best finale of a home and away season that they've ever seen.
See it, bro. It was definitely dope. Shit, let's get on into these games, man. To start off this amazing round of footy, we had the Dogs versus Port.
2 of the top 4.
And man, this game right here, all right, so the Dogs came in, they got the early lead. Not only did they have the early lead, they had the lead for, I think, 105 minutes out of this game. Then Port just did what they had to do at the end of the game and pulled it through. It was one of the best finishes to a game. A lot of these were just great finishes, but this was a good one for sure. The thing about this, the Dogs just couldn't put any points on the board. They were stuck at 33 points for like almost a whole 2 quarters. They had a good start, and then they kind of just got stuck. Couldn't get it done, and Port just kind of steadily crept their way up. Port had a slow first half. I'm starting to see that they have just slow first halves and pick up real strong in the second. But I don't think that's going to fly in the final. So they might have got away with a win here, but if this happens again, if this matchup happens again, I don't think the Port's going to be so lucky.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much what you said, bro. The Dogs, they came out starting hot. I think what was particularly important that I think each one of their scoring, they had one of their midfielders that they needed. So it was showing that their midfield was getting involved. And that's what we needed for the Dogs, showing especially recent weeks that they've been struggling. So they came out good. Port came on the scoreboard really sluggish. I think they only had like 1 goal in the first quarter. So really momentum was going the Dogs' way first quarter. Second quarter, Dogs kind of fell off a little bit. Port did look a little bit more comfortable. They were getting scores on the board, but it wasn't quite translating into goals. But after halftime, it was really a great quarter for both of them in the third quarter. I think Port came out with the first 3 looking pretty good, and then the Dogs came out with the next 3, and it was really a stagnant point from there. And then at the end of the game, it was really the Dogs trying to take the lead, followed at the end with a Bailey Smith kick, try to get it there, but it really didn't quite reach the distance, and nobody could rebound the ball or whatever, or get the crumb and kick the ball in. So Port won, despite them going against a top 8 team, and they won. So Dogs, finals. Let's see what you got going on. You're struggling.
Yeah, and this game was important for the Dogs too. They needed this game to secure their spot in the top 4, and they just missed it. And because of a later game this week, they didn't make it. So
I'm dropping the 5 spot. Trash. Disappointing, bro.
Next game we got Richmond versus Hawks. And surprisingly, this was a great fucking game too. I really didn't think this game was gonna matter that much. I mean, it didn't matter as far as finals. Both these teams really had no chance of making the 8. So this game, I wasn't really expecting too much from it, other than it being Clarko's last game. The Hawks been on a great win streak these past 3 games, so I was surprised. I was happy that they played so good, even though they didn't. They had I'll say they played good the second and third quarter. The first went to Richmond. The fourth definitely went to Richmond. The game went to both teams, or no teams, depending on how you look at it. It was a draw. Great fucking finish from Jack Rewalt, man. He finally showed why he was an all-star. Like, I could have talked so much shit about Jack Rewalt all year. This last game, this last minute of this game definitely made up for all Jack Rewalt did this year. Just a great game to watch, man.
Yeah, pretty much like you said, it was a good game. Richmond came out, like you said, to start the game. They clawed themselves to an early lead. Hawks didn't quite look into it, but Hawks kind of grabbed like the middle quarter, like you said. They came with some pressure. Sometimes they were making Richmond look uncomfortable at stages where Richmond weren't playing up to par. They were turning the ball over, and the Hawks took advantage of that. And they did get to a decent lead, and Richmond was really like, all right, at the end of the game, we got to spoil this for Clark over. He's not about to beat us in his last game coaching us, so we got to show him that our dynasty is like, yeah, your 3P versus our 3P for potential or whatever. So he was like, so really they were like, all right, Hardwood, let's get it done. And Rewalt, like you said, he had scored the last 2 goals of the game, and it was really crazy, bro. I think it was like all under a minute. So his goal from the boundary or whatever he had for the drop punt, that was under a minute, and then they had the set shot. They had the center bounce, free kick or whatever in the center bounce, and then the kick in. There was a bunch of it was pretty much chaos, bro. Tom Lynch managed to get a handball out. I don't know if it was legal or not, and Rewalt kind of fell and kicked. That shit was pretty crazy, bro. Went in. Sean Burgoyne tried to stretch and reach it, tried to touch it behind, but didn't quite get it when the whole ball crossed over the line. So,
who had their last game for the Hawks? 400 something game, ain't it?
Was it Sean Burgoyne?
Yeah, facts.
He was the one who dove.
It sure was. I probably sleep on shit. Hey, but because when we was on, shout out 4th and Long. We did a podcast with them, but when we was on 4th and Long, Donnie had said that Jack Rewalt would have been happy if he had touched that, just so he would have that fairy tale ending to his career type shit.
Yeah.
So
he has a relative that plays for Port. He's like injury is out for season. I haven't seen him play either, but I've seen his name on the injury list all year. And Sean played for Port before. So
father-son rule? You think his dad played for him?
I don't know. I don't know who he is for real. So that's if we can do a video on that.
All right. Next game we got Sydney versus Gold Coast, and
Gold Coast never had a chance in this game, bro.
Yeah, this was an ass whoop from the start. Honestly, I feel like this might hurt Sydney in the finals just because they had this easy win. I feel like they didn't really have to do too much. I know Sydney isn't playing at their best when they were just going to Buddy just because they can. And a lot of times, Tom Papley just had an easy handball or kick to Buddy. I think Buddy had 5 or 6 goals. How many goals did he have?
I don't know off the top of my head.
He definitely put a dent in his road to 1,000. So
is he at 992 now? I think.
Yeah,
I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Gold Coast really just didn't have a chance. They didn't really put in much effort.
Hell no.
This was just an easy win for Sydney.
But he had 6 goals.
Yeah, but he put
a bag.
Put a big dent in his shit with a bag this round. But yeah, Sydney got this easily.
Sydney won 21 goals, put 21 goals, left 10 behinds on board. Gold Coast put up the usual 6 and 13. Usually Gold Coast, sometimes Gold Coast can come with a decent effort. But they've been getting smoked the whole end of the year except against Carlton, so that's encouraging for us, right? Nah, not really. But Buddy really turned up, like really off the first center bounce. Buddy scored a goal off like the first 15 seconds, excuse me. Early Callum Mills got injured, so keep an eye on that. That might be something important to look out for going forward in finals, because if they want to go far in finals, they're going to have their midfield, the strength of the midfield to be able to build and be able to handle the pressure of the other tougher midfields that we know, like the Brisbanes and the Geelongs, and the Dogs. So watch out for that. Sydney just really had easy ball movement. Really, they were chilling the whole game. It didn't even, like you said, bro, they were giving it to Buddy when they wanted to. Papley got involved. there was really no contest from Gold Coast at all. Really, the most effort that you seen was Ben King. He had 4 or 6 goals, and really the first goal they had was off like a front on contact or something, and then that's how they ended up getting like a momentum to get a couple goals. I think Ben King scored the next one right after that. But they just couldn't get a stop at all, and that was really just the whole summarization of the night. It was pretty. Go Coast, bro. Them boys are just laughable at this point. It's laughable on us to have lost to these motherfuckers, bro.
Trying to tell you. Oh, wow, I can't tell you what.
Motherfucker.
All right. Next game, we got Brisbane Lions versus West Coast Eagles. See, West Coast Eagles all day, every day. And I'll just go ahead, bro. This game was West Coast versus Brisbane, but it was also Brisbane versus the Dogs, as it seemed like everybody forgot about West Coast in the fourth quarter, even though we were still fucking playing. But the whole time, Brisbane was fighting for the 4th spot. Also, don't forget, West Coast was also fighting for our chance in the 8, which was a possibility at the beginning of this game.
They didn't even mention it, bro.
Nobody even gave a fuck. It's like got rolled off. Like, even the whole fucking game, bro, in the corner of the screen, it was the fucking Dogs and Brisbane, the percentage.
The live ladder.
The live, like, bro, we haven't even lost yet, bro. We still have a chance to make it. They counted us out. They didn't give a fuck about us. But Brisbane, y'all played a good game. But we played a good game too. We played a great first 3 quarters. We kept up. We had great pressure, it just wasn't enough. And we're not ready for the finals, so I'm not too mad at this loss, but can somebody put some respect on West Coast this week, please, bro? Okay.
Alright, so I learned that for some reason y'all just got on the theme recently of giving up big first quarters like y'all did against Frio last week. Then Brisbane had a really nice start to the game this round against West Coast. But I think West Coast did a good job working their way into it. They didn't really get too far behind. At times it did kind of look like it was overwhelming. They did look uncomfortable, but they were able to come back into the matchup each and every time that it did kind of look like it was going to get away. So it was back and forth. Really, Brisbane, they just took off toward like halfway through the fourth quarter. Everything just kind of started going their way. And I think really the main difference in this game, West Coast is usually the team that's like very efficient, but they weren't really efficient enough inside 50 this game. And that's something I kind of gave y'all credit for earlier in the season, and now it's kind of just, I've been taking a little bit more like, okay, the efficiency is not happening as much as I would like to see. So we know this isn't West Coast at the top of their game, but credit to Brisbane. Brisbane isn't the best defensive team, but they did, like I said, at early times in the game that they were able to make y'all look uncomfortable. But it also helps when you don't have Tim Kelly out and players who are able to get the ball going. But shout out to Jamie Cripps. He did have a couple nice goals this game. I think he was big on the momentum shift. But it wasn't quite enough, and Brisbane earned themselves a top 4 spot in this round. Well, this finals.
It was a great finish, even though it really didn't have anything to do with West Coast. Well, it was only our job to stop them from getting a great finish, but they had that behind with like 30 seconds left.
And before that, they missed one.
Yeah, they missed one, then they had that behind with 20-something seconds left, and that put them ahead of the Dogs on the ladder. And then Charlie Cameron just finished it off with a goal to solidify that.
Yeah, the gavel was really fucking loud, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of, that's something that I wish I could experience. It just, all the Lions fans really just like cheering at that moment, bro. Really throughout the game when it was turned for them.
That's the one thing that was missing this round. In a lot of those big games, there was no crowd. The Dogs Port, no crowd. Shit, we about to talk about, no crowd. Getting into that, we got Geelong versus Melbourne.
Another top 4 matchup. 2 of the top 4.
Another great game. Another last 30-second finish. Man, this game was also that, man. Melbourne I think Melbourne came out decent at the beginning, but Geelong, they took off. Geelong really should have had this game. I think they really got a big lead on them in a big chunk of this game. And Melbourne just came back at the end. And Geelong, they just did some goofball shit. Like, were they trying to lose? I don't know, but Guthrie just kicked the ball right out of bounds like he's not at fucking home. And gave the ball to Melbourne, and they just finished it off in the last seconds. Great kick by the skipper, Max Gahn, for the win, top of the ladder board. I can't say too much, man. Y'all got that number one spot, bro.
Geelong did get a big lead. At one point, they scored 8 straight goals in the second quarter. This was all in one quarter. They really had 9. I think they had 1 goal in the third quarter before it got broke off a throw advantage. They called a throw, I think, was it on Dangerfield or something? I think they called a throw on Dangerfield, and Clayton Oliver played the advantage, kicked it. So that's what I learned, bro. When there's the momentum, bro, it's always some bullshit call. I won't even say bullshit, but obviously if I'm on the team and I have momentum going my way, and then there's a call that's made because of a teammate of mine did something, as a team, that's bullshit. We need to stop that and keep the momentum going. And that's something that's big in footy. And like I said, like the front-on contact with the Gold Coast game when they broke Sydney's momentum. So keep that in mind. Like, as we're players, let's not do that. But Melbourne really struggled to get goals really on the scoreboard. They really just scored. So they got their goals really on the back end of the quarters. Like in the second quarter, I think it was either on the 10-minute mark or the 6-minute mark, they scored a goal. Same thing, and they really finished it out through the quarter. And they started the next quarter after halftime a little rough. And then at the back end of the third quarter, they ended up getting a little momentum going again. So Melbourne really owned the fourth quarter, though. Really just the whole fourth quarter. Max Gahn really dominant in the ruck. He really had the ball going his way with the hit-outs every time, really. Geelong really couldn't even get a touch of the ball at all. Spargo, in particular, I think he had 2 of the goals in the fourth quarter. I call him the Spargo or the Spargo Spark, if you don't mind. But Geelong really, at one point, they were up by 32, bro. They were up by 32 at a quarter time, I think. And they folded that whole lead at the end of the game. Like you said, Cam Guthrie. And it's a 2-step fold because Cam Guthrie got the delivery out of bounds. Then he had the ball, kicked it out on the full. But then you had, was it Close?
Oh, yeah.
Who did the double fist. And that was the 50.
Yeah.
Because it was already gone. So it was a turnover and then a 50 on top of the turnover. And then you give Max Gahn the easy goal right there, bro. I mean, you gave Jake Lever the kick to Reece Stanley, who smoked the coverage, really didn't step up in where he needed to step up. Max Gahn's the biggest man on the field, so you have to be able to spoil, do something. And kicked it and clinched the minor premiership, like you said, and it was a good celebration. Nice celebration to see from Melbourne. It was nice to see, even though it's not my team, it was a dope little congregation.
Just a great finish after the buzzer finish for the number 1 spot, minor premiership leader. Great finish to the game for sure.
Geelong, and look, I will add this. Geelong loses a lot of games that they're supposed to win. What game was it earlier in the season? I think it might have been Sydney, maybe around week 10, even maybe a little before that. Yeah. I think they lost that game, and I kept saying, and you didn't agree. I was like, Geelong should have won that game, but I think they might have folded or whatever.
Yeah.
You remember when we talked about that?
Because that was right before they played us, I think. And they beat our ass.
Bro, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's easy to see Geelong lose in the finals, bro, when you keep on losing these games, bro. But you're so dominant, but it's not going to be surprising.
I think that experience, I think veteran experience is really going to come into play in the finals. So I don't know, bro.
You would think, but all these games, these veterans are still here on the regular season, in my opinion. So it's like,
for sure.
I don't think you should be losing these games at all.
Could it be? Maybe they just didn't want to play Brisbane.
Yeah. And look, that's an absolute possibility too. But god damn, you feeling? I'm not about to give up 32 points. I'm giving up my coach at some point. My coach, the coach will be like, hell no. He's like, hey, look, we ain't losing this game. We went in here with a mindset. No, we ain't doing that right now, bro.
Oh shit! Speaking of losing coaches,
oh Jesus Christ!
Next game we got Carlton versus GWS. In this game, it's starting to be a typical Carlton performance, bro. They come out strong the first half, and then the second half is just like, what the fuck? The other team just gets in it, passes them up, and it's like Carlton is just stuck in fucking place. I will give praise to the Colonel brothers. I think they played great this game. But GWS, they're in finals form. They wanted, they're ready. They're selling a lot of fucking candy out there. So them boys, GWS, they might be some heartbreakers in the finals, bro. They might be.
All right, first and foremost, this was Eddie's Bet's 350th game and his last game. So, Eddie, we gonna miss you. Salute. He put in a decent effort. I think he had 2 goals this game. But like you said, we started out hot. We started off aggressive. Carlton looked very aggressive. I'm not used to seeing them play this type of manner, using the corridor the way that they did. They really punched the ball down GWS throat a lot of times in the first half. They really did, even the first quarter specifically. They took the game on, as they say. And they didn't look hesitant at all. It really was a confident look to Carlton, and I really like that. I hope that we can, in the future, we can still do that. And I hope it opened the eyes, especially because some of the younger players were on the field at the time and see that. Now, as to why it couldn't continue into the second half, I'm not sure. But I would like to highlight a couple players, though, like Corey Durden. I think he made his debut last week, and he comes with a certain effort, like the chase downs, multiple chase downs, where he came, he was one of the fastest players. We actually had one of our friends came in and watched the game with me, and he was like, he said, oh yeah, he's fast, he's one of the fastest players. And so I like that he didn't even know that was his second game, so that's great. Great effort. Like you said, Ed Kerno, I think he had 4 goals. During the second half, he was one of the only players who really gave a fuck, who wanted this game for Eddie. So salute to Ed. That is in his reputation. You know, he is one of the hard workers. He's not the most skilled player. So yeah, like we were controlling the game, and Toby Green didn't even really show up this game. He had his time, but this wasn't even a Toby Green game where he was really just turning up like that. I think he had a couple moments in the first half, but really didn't see him like that, bro. But they really was turning up. The third quarter, particularly when they started fucking us up, their problem was when they weren't fucking us up, it was because their inside 50 kick wasn't as good as it could have been. And really, when they were able to straighten that up and really spread us out on the field, it was over with. And we stopped trying, bro. They scored 5 straight goals, and typical Carlton, like you said, that's what we do. And we didn't reward ourselves on good defense. We really put a lot of pressure on Jacob Wiedering. He played so great, but you know you can only do that for so long in the game before you start getting gassed, and you keep getting tried. And one stat in particular I like to mention, they had the ball more, right?
Yeah.
And they had 20 tackles inside 50, and we had 1. And they had the ball more. We didn't have the ball more, but they tackled us 19 more. That's effort, bro. That's terrible.
They definitely wanted. I'll say GWS was definitely making that extra pass, just having that extra player on, putting that. It really is just effort. I was just about to say a whole bunch of shit to say what you said, but yeah. Effort is what won, because it definitely won't they fucking goal kicking 17 behinds. That they should have did better than that. If they want to make it from the finals, that's going to be the main thing they have to correct going forward.
We need Harry.
Next game, starting the lower end of the week, we got the Saints versus Frio, and we finally get Frio going back to being ass after whooping our ass, which is unfortunate, but the Saints just came out. They fucking, who is it? Waterman. They got the Waterman turned up. This is one of the best games I've seen. No,
different game. Edit out.
Damn, who turned up this game? I just know Frio is ass, and that's that's really the thing I was most disappointed in, bro. Like you felt about Gold Coast, that's how I feel about Frio again. This game, like Saints this game really wasn't all that. It had small finals implications just because both these teams had a chance, but they were both ass, so
yeah,
it really wasn't gonna happen. I just can't believe Frio just wanted to fuck up our chances, bro. because that's all they did, and then got beat like this.
Freo did. The problem with Freo this game is they couldn't handle Saints' pressure. Saints really brought a lot of tough defensive pressure, and it really was a classic case between strength and speed. You know, Freo is a speedy team, a young team with the future, whatever, relying on the speed. And Saints aren't the fastest team, but they are the strong team. And really, they brought the pressure. They have the skill errors, so really it wasn't looking too good for either team in the beginning. Nobody's really able to get going, but the Saints really brought a good effort in the second quarter. I think one thing that really hurt the Freo this game was Sean Darcy got hurt. He continued to play, but we all know he's one of the best players for them. He's a big player, very effective at a ruck, and if he got hurt, without him in his top shape, you know, Freo's going to take a hit. One player that I noticed did turn up, that one dude, Cooper Sharman or whatever his name is, the young player. He had 4 goals, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And like you said, Freo's ass, you can't highlight it enough. 47 minutes in between goals, and in between that, Saints scored 8 straight goals. And it's funny because both of these teams are the teams who aren't either of them are the accurate team. They both have had many times in the season where they had more behinds than goals, and it's just inaccuracy all throughout the season. Inconsistency. And guess which one came out on top? Saints 17 goals, 5 behinds. Freo 6 goals, 13 behinds, with a traditional stat line for Freo. So that's how it goes, man. 58-point blowout. Adam Chera's coming to Carlton probably, so that's what happens, man.
Yeah.
I think Brayshaw got hurt too. Didn't he get hit in the ribs or something?
He did get like kneed in the ribs,
Yeah.
right? He went down for a while. I was surprised he got back up though. Yeah, that's up for y'all. Next game we got Essendon versus the Collingwobbles.
Anzac Day rematch.
Rematch. Although this game was nothing like that on Essendon really steamrolled these boys. They're getting ready for finals. They're definitely in finals form. Stringer put in a lot of work. Alec Waterman seems like the superior Waterman at this time. He really turned up. They really just getting ready. Their defensive pressure was great. And it's not saying too much against the Collingwobbles. They kind of checked out. They really seemed like they checked out pretty early this game. But Essendon, y'all are looking decent. I'm not believing all this hype. I didn't even know so many people believed that Essendon was going to go far in the finals. But I just don't believe it. They're definitely the weakest team in the 8, in my opinion. And I really don't see them making out the first round. But y'all made it, so let's see.
All right. Essendon this game, well, like you said, Collingwood did kind of check out earlier in the game. Essendon was able to really control the game in the beginning, but they had their own little bonehead mistakes that ended up letting Collingwood stay in the game, like just turnovers or just dumb kicks that really didn't make sense. Really kicks it without confidence. Also another point, bro. We talking about Waterman, bro. Did you see when this man had 50 because they got caught on the mark? Well, he got caught on the mark. He came from behind the mark. They called 50 on him, bro. So they started running. This man did the same shit again.
Yes,
again.
All the way to the, and they scored off that shit.
Yes, bro. He gave that.
I was like, what the fuck was he doing? I don't know.
That boy dumb as fuck for that shit.
He had a great game and he just wanted to be everywhere, I guess.
So shit like that is what kept Collingwood in the game when they were into it. Really, I'll say the one of the bright stars for Collingwood was Jamie Elliott. He had 4 goals. He was really the major forward, clear as day, the best forward on their team. Peter Wright, he had 7 goals. Was it against the Dogs? I think he had 7 goals against the Dogs a couple weeks ago. But he had 4 goals in the first half this game. He didn't get any in the second half, but shows that he has little spurts of goal scoring ability, and Essendon might be straight with him at the forward. I think when they do go to finals, I think the forwards are lacking. The forward line is lacking in particular compared to like the Brisbanes and the Geelongs. But so I think going forward that is encouraging. But I think at the end of the day, Essendon just had a better disposal efficiency. They were cleaner with the ball, and Collingwood just had too many turnovers. Like you said, Essendon had good pressure on them, and Collingwood just couldn't stack up. the main players weren't involved as much as Essendon main players were, and Essendon wanted to head into finals on a win against a rival.
Yep. All right, the final game of the round. A game that really had nothing to do with anything finals related, but it did have something to do with who got the wooden spoon. Adelaide versus North. And this game was surprisingly entertaining to me. Adelaide is one of the most entertaining teams to me to watch, period. Shane McAdam, great fucking specky. This game.
Two great this game.
Yeah, the one you put in the highlight video.
Terran Thomas.
I would have picked. I like Shane McAdam. Shane McAdam shit was just a textbook because he really got on his back and just levitated.
He
with
did.
that shit.
I just didn't pick that in the highlight video because he caught it when he was on the ground. He didn't have it full secure where Terran Thomas had it in the air, and that's the only reason. I was going back and forth, and it was tough, bro. It was tough. And then the landing didn't look as clean because he kind of got his leg.
Yeah, he did. That shit.
Like he sprained that shit.
Yeah, he got to bounce off that shit. It was weird. But
Phil Thorpe was like this. He was like,
he rubbed his head and shit. That nigga's happy.
Phil Thorpe returned.
But North, I'm really disappointed at how North played. They kind of went back to how they played earlier this round, well, earlier this season. And they just weren't meshing together. People weren't in the right spots. It just didn't look, put together like I would expect North to do. I don't know if they were trying to get the wooden spoon. They wanted that top draft pick, whatever the case may be. But this wasn't the North that I've grown to know these last few weeks. But still, it was a good game to watch. I'm not disappointed on how season 2021 round 23 ended.
Yeah. North didn't, like you said, North didn't look to be the team that they have, and I think the particular I think the reason why North hasn't been able to look like that this game is because I think at certain points they did look decent, but Zerhard got hurt this game, which was very important. He's a player that gets him going, and I think at times they just looked lost. They looked like they needed some stars and some leaders to really take over at times, and I don't think they had Zeeble this game. They didn't have Cunnington, as we all know. And if your player, Zerhard's getting hurt, who's one of the biggest momentum players on the team, I think that's a lot going against you. And then you also have the fact that they're young and they're a team that doesn't have much experience outside of those players. So it was a tough climb, even though they are playing Adelaide. But Adelaide in recent weeks has been looking decent. They have certain spurts. Like we said, in transition, they do look good. They can get the ball into open space. And they are an entertaining team, a highlight team, which if you're getting highlights kicked on you, I kind of imagine that can be demoralizing, especially to a younger team. And both teams did bring high pressure this game. At least early on, both teams brought it. In the beginning, they both were struggling, trying to find out how to get their offense going. And like I said, North, without their leaders, kind of went through longer spells without really getting the ball going their way. I think a good thing, a nice thing about this game in particular was. I think one thing about the fourth quarter, Adelaide, it was dope because you had two players retiring, David McKay, and you had Tom Lynch, and both of them got goals. The teams looked out for them to get goals in the fourth quarter in their last game, and they both got those goals. And then there also was a debut, what's his name, Lockie Gallant. I know his last name is Gallant. I don't know if Lockie was his first name, but he got his first AFL goal. So there was 3 whole celebrations in the fourth quarter, and that was dope. That's a nice little way to end your season on a high note if you're Adelaide. Also because you're having nice momentum going on at the end of the season. So I guess that's a thumbs up for them. So North, you have a lot to go off this season. You didn't end the season, this game, as well as you would like, but given the circumstance that I said, I think it's okay. We know you have momentum going next year. And it was a nice battle of the wooden spoon. It was.
So, I guess that concludes our 2021 season recaps, bro. That shit crazy.
Friction.
Yeah, it's the first season. You got it. I mean, prepare for this shit. You got any grand takeaway is rough? Or
Grand takeaway. So, season takeaway?
Yeah.
Seasonal takeaway?
For our first season of footy?
The unpredictability is obviously the first thing that comes to mind. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's no way to predict it. Games, the ladder,
Yeah.
nothing. There's no way. What player's going to turn up? What rookie? I imagine when we get more involved in the draft this off season, it's going to be rookies that. Because I've looked at old drafts and there's players like in the 50s and 60s that start turning up, and it's like, bro.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with the unpredictability. I think that's one of the reasons I fuck with this sport so much. Because coming into this, everybody's Richmond's the top team. They didn't even fucking make the 8. They ain't even in the finals. Nobody said Sydney was gonna be shit. Sydney, they might be the sleepers this round. Like,
Sydney and Essendon both.
yeah, Essendon barely made it to the finals. They've only been in the final, well, in the top 8, two rounds out this whole year, and they in the finals, man. Anything could happen in this shit. It's so fast paced, so high scoring. This has definitely become my favorite sport easily. Hella respect for the players that go out and do this shit, man.
Yeah. Definitely got an idea of how hard this shit is.
It's just
A semblance of an idea.
so, man. I just really fuck with footy, man. I'll say that. But finals, ready to do these tips? Bringing back tips for the finals, man.
Week 1 finals.
I guess I can just run through who I got winning all these games real quick. I ain't got score spread.
That I'm scoring.
But for the first game, damn, where am I shit at? For the first game, Port versus Geelong. I got Port losing that game. Geelong moving on. Sydney, GWS. Sydney's losing. GWS winning. Dogs, Essendon. Dogs winning. Goodbye, Essendon. I went in a different order, but Melbourne, Brisbane. Melbourne's out of there. I do see Melbourne making a strong comeback later on, since they have that one they can lose, but against Brisbane, nah.
You said you had Port or Geelong winning?
I got Geelong winning.
All right, so let me go to my first game. All right, first game, I have Port beating Geelong at Adelaide Oval. I think that'll be an advantage for Port. I know the crowd goes crazy at Port Adelaide Oval, so I think that'll be the advantage. Also, given that Geelong's struggling. Sydney GWS, Battle of the Bridge, I think that's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
This will be a very nice matchup. This might be the closest matchup of the first round, I predict. But I think Sydney will take it out. You predict Sydney too?
No, I picked GWS.
Okay, oh shit. So I got Sydney. Next game, Melbourne, Brisbane. We did agree on this though. I have Brisbane winning. I think the offense will be a little bit too much for Melbourne's defense. I think Stephen May's a little banged up too, so we'll see how that goes. Also assuming that Harris Andrews and Mitch Robinson come back and have an effect on the game. And the last game, Essendon versus the Dogs. I think Essendon will have the upset this game and give the Dogs disappointing and rough, if you don't mind, end to the season. Fuck your tongue. And that's it, man.
That shit crazy. We only agreed on the Brisbane game, bro. So.
And that was the lower seed.
It's gonna be crazy, man. I'm really excited for finals.
Somebody's gonna be upset. Somebody gonna be looking like the genius.
It is kind of nice not having my team in this shit. I can just enjoy this shit. Hey, we did do a whole bracket. Y'all check out our podcast where we were guests on 4th and Long. Y'all check that out if y'all want to know our whole bracket for the finals. I think that's about it.
Might be it, David.
Man, y'all catch us live, man. I miss y'all, dog. No cap.
It's been a minute. Yes, we've been getting our footy practice on though.
Yeah, shit. Y'all seen all the videos we've been dropping this week. Been busy, but
What's crazy? My quad muscles are different from the last time I talked to y'all.
Getting the brick money.
Got them bricks. All white. Nah, I'll be all white bricks in wintertime. All brown bricks right now though.
Man.
Get that mom.
Shit, I don't think that's about it, man. Let's see. Season, our first season of footy, regular season wrapped up.
Home and away season.
Juwan next to Don.
Except my STEEZ.
Round 23 all the way. Yeah.